Hi, I'm JP.
And I'm Adam.
I've never seen Lost.
I have.
I'm told that it's good.
I liked it.
I'm told that it made sense. Sort of. But we're watching it out of order.
So it definitely won't make sense.
But it might still be good. Since we won't expect it to make sense, we'll still be able to appreciate each episode on its own merits as a 1-hour story.
Sometimes 2 or 3.
As opposed to just a fraction of an ongoing, sprawling, and increasingly complex tangle of relationships, personal stories, mysteries, mythologies, experiments, social dynamics, unnatural disasters, unanswered questions, and hot tropical hookups.
Are you okay?
I'm not sure.
Because you lost me a little bit there at the end.
Well, good, because I've been lost since the beginning.
We're
Lost on Lost. Ooh, welcome everybody to Lost on Lost. I am JP Russell, joined as always by the A to the B, Adam Busher.
That's me, baby. Good to be here. Good to be back.
Did we leave? Did we go someplace?
I mean, since 2 weeks ago or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Or,
cool, yeah.
Or an hour ago if you're binging all 5 episodes of Lost on Lost in a row.
That the Surgeon General specifically suggests that you don't do that. So, Adam, I was looking at some peripheral information about this week's episode, and the episode we're talking about gets its name from the 1859 historical novel by Charles Dickens of the same name, A Tale of Two Cities, which is set in London and Paris before and during the French Revolution. So I wanted to read the book before we recorded this episode, for some context and see if there's any sort of go-between and things like that. Sure. But I saw that it only had a 3.5 out of 5 on Goodreads.com. Oh. So instead, I watched Garfield 2, A Tale of Two Kitties, and I think I got the gist.
Holy living fuck.
It's a cinematic masterpiece. Today we're talking about A Tale of Two Cities, the first episode of season 3 and the 50th episode overall. Our central characters, everyone's favorite guy from divorce court, Dr. Jack Shepard. A Tale of Two Cities takes place on the 68th day after the crash of Oceanic Flight 815. Adam?
Yeah?
Do you have a recap?
Certainly do.
Hit me in the face with it.
Date night! On the island, Kate Austen, James Ford, and Jack Shepard are held captive by the mysterious others. Ben Linus, Juliet Burke, and Tom Friendly stash our heroes in animal cages because if you got 'em, you might as well use 'em. We're reintroduced to escape artist / teen heartthrob Carl Martin, and the others put their apparently one taser to work. In the before times, Jack's getting divorced. What? Well, stamp Dharma on my ass and call me a fish biscuit. It's A Tale of Two Cities here on Lost on Lost.
Oh my god.
JP.
Yeah.
We have a guest.
I'm shook to my core. We're back to having guests.
I want to get a big Lost on Lost welcome to this week's guest, Nick. Nick, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks. Thanks, guys, for having me. Super excited.
Yeah. Are you? I don't know why.
For those who don't know me, I am Nick Schreiter, husband of professional fart sniffer Shaina Desotelle.
You go by Mr. Shaina Desotelle.
I go by Mr. Shaina Desotelle. As I tell everyone I meet, Shaina has the fun job, so... if that's any indication, that's why I'm excited to be here.
Excellent.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us,
Nick. Let's make a little let's make a little context here. So you are the other half of previous Lost on Lost guest Shaina Desotelle from our episode back in December.
Indeed.
But let's find out about Nick. Nick, the individual. What as far as television is concerned, what kind of TV do you like to watch, Nick?
Yeah, so I really love comedies. Mm-hmm. Even when I watch a drama, I kind of prefer a little comedy in there. So I would say my favorite 2 television shows of all time are The West Wing and Parks and Recreation. So if that gives you any indication as to who I am as a person,
the West Wing, that laugh a minute, fantasy. Cool, that's cool. Let's talk about Lost real quick. Did you watch Lost when it originally aired back in 2004 through 2010?
Absolutely not.
Yes.
I'm sorry if that sounds cruel, but I saw previews for it back in the day, and I was like, this is not for me.
Here's the thing, Adam. We're going to have to run the numbers on which of our guests have and have not seen it.
We should start keeping track of it. Maybe I'll go back.
It's been a pretty even split. And for the show that, like, we've known as, like, a cultural touchdown, we've found a lot of people in our lives that have not seen this fucking show.
Right, yeah.
Y'all want to get into this?
Might as well, right?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Do it. Tale of Two Cities originally aired on October 4th, 2006. It was written by Damon Lindelof and was directed by Jack Bender. Damon Lindelof played the role of Kicked Man in a 2011 episode of House, and Jack Bender directed the 1981 short film A Real Naked Lady. I tried to Google that, and now I have a subscription to male enhancement pills. We start at an I.
Oh man, this is my favorite shot because, like, I love how creative and new it is. Every time I see it, I think to myself, "Man, that's so innovative."
It screams college freshman film student.
But yeah, so we see. So this is a relatively new location for us on the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're watching chronologically, this is for sure a new location. We start with nobody we've seen before. Just this blonde woman putting on some Petula Clark, cooking up some muffins.
She looks like she's just holding it together. Like,
yeah, just like the raggedy edge of sanity.
I actually made a note like, ooh, CD cases.
Yeah, right.
Like, remember
it's
those
kind of
guys?
novel. Remember when we didn't have every song ever written just at our fingertips and we didn't take it for granted,
right? And then I also made another note that every time I hear downtown, I because my brain is so addled by The Simpsons, I just imagine groundskeeper Willie singing "Toon Toon Toon Toon."
But so yeah, so we all know here who this is. This is Juliet.
Yeah.
The wonderful Elizabeth Mitchell. So yeah, she burns the shit out of some muffins. Some other shit goes on. A woman comes to the door, and like there's some dude working on her plumbing.
Right.
If you're watching this in chronological order, you're like, what's going on?
What is this? Am I tuned into the wrong show?
Right. Exactly. There are no characters that we've seen before. No, like even we're used to even starting in flashback, and we find out a little bit later that this is a flashback. But we're also used to our flashbacks including people we know.
So when I watched this opening, I was also like, why are TV characters always burning something or themselves? What?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. Right. I can count on one hand the amount of times I've burned my hand by taking something out of the oven without an oven mitt. It's zero.
Yes.
Like that's how many times.
I did it once. I've done it once.
But I've
just
burned
reaches in
my
there with
forearm
bare
or something
hands.
on on something hot on the stove where I wasn't paying attention. But I've never reached into the oven barehanded and like, this will probably be fine.
I mean, I guess it's supposed to be some sort of, subtle nod to their mental state, but I'm just like, why are characters always like use an UGG glove for God's sake?
It should be right in the drawer next to the like it should be easy. Yeah.
Or
This
already
episode
out.
of Lost on Lost brought to you by the UGG glove.
The UGG glove infomercial.
Anybody from UGG glove wants to contact me, I will gladly endorse.
The infomercial for UGG glove is stuck in my memory because the final shot of it is just an open hand and wearing an UGG glove and all the fingers curled into a fist, and then it ends on a thumbs up. And I do that in real life when making a thumbs up sometimes.
Yeah, but it's weird because your UGG glove's all like covered in blood.
I will recreate that for money, UGG glove. Just give me a call.
So Juliet's hosting book club at her house.
Yeah.
Of course, they're reading a fucking Stephen King book. Hey, Hollywood, there's other authors. Much better ones, too.
Hey, this is Juliet's favorite book. Nobody's favorite book is Carrie.
Yeah, I was going to say. Maybe their favorite movie, but dude, this is the most hostile book club I have ever seen.
Yeah, right?
Like, having never seen the show, I thought they were all going to pull out knives and start stabbing each other, maybe.
Well, to be fair, like, if I was in a book club and somebody made me read Stephen King, I'd probably be pretty pissed, too.
Yeah, that's fair. I can't think of if I've ever read a Stephen King book. Their discussion about how dumb or not dumb this book is interrupted by an earthquake
and everybody kind of runs outside. We see Ethan.
Yeah.
We see Ben.
Yeah.
We see what's his face? Goodwin.
Yeah. And
Goodwin's
so
alive-ass.
this is the part where we start to see some characters that chronologically we
Some
would have
familiar
seen.
faces.
Because Ethan, we were first introduced to in season 1. Goodwin, and we saw in season 2. Ben, we saw in season 2 as well. So now we're starting to now if you were worried this is the wrong show, now you know it's the right show.
Another full disclosure, guys. I'm shit with names, so you're
okay.
saying these names, and I know better the actor names. So when I'm watching,
so we should refer to them as Brett Cullen and William Matherper. Will that help you?
Yes, actually, yes, because Brett Cullen.
I love it. I actually love Brett Cullen. He's like one of those character actors. He's in a bunch of stuff, and
He was in The West Wing season 6 and season 7.
God damn it.
he was just in something. I just watched season 3 of True Detective, and he's in that. I think. So yeah, Brett Cullen.
But
Brett Cullen's all right. That's the guy who plays Goodwin.
All right. So everyone like even though it's an earthquake, they all kind of look up.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yes.
Well, I think everybody comes out, and then the earthquakes happen, but then they hear the sound of the plane, and that's what causes them to look up. I don't think they're looking up because of the earthquake, but yeah, they look up and they see this plane falling apart in the sky,
Like puzzle pieces.
Yeah, just like
that plane like exploded in perfect sectioned pieces.
that's
how is that
that's
possible?
just they got footage from an American Airlines commercial. Listen, they've lost my luggage enough times. They can kiss my ass.
And you just lost an endorsement opportunity.
That's all
fine.
right. We've got Lactaid, Nerf, Up Glove, and bag medicine, so I think we're all right.
Perfect.
Generic brand bag medicine.
It's gonna be real lucrative once the podcast unionizes. As soon as they see the plane break up, Ben goes into fucking mega mind mode, and it's so much fun to watch Michael Emerson do his thing because he like instantly is like, okay, Ethan, you go that way. Goodwin, you go that way. Here's your story. Go immediately. Contact us in 3 days.
If you run, you should get there in an hour. Like, fuck, man.
He knows how fast he can run.
Yeah, and how
love
far
that.
away they're. Like, he already knows where they're gonna land.
Also, even if he runs at like full human speed, humans can actually only run like sprint at full speed for like 25 seconds or something like that before they like their body literally like hits
throttles
a wall
you down. Yeah,
and like you basically have to stop.
It starts out pretty bonkers. But this scene here is a flashback to day 1 of the show.
Yeah.
Because the pilot opens with the middle the chaos of the middle section survivors. So this is a flashback. So this is a interesting little thing. We start the episode, the season, in a flashback to day 1. There's a weird little shitty conversation between Ben and Juliet about him being out of the book club. I guess I'm out of the book club then. It's like,
I saw that too.
what the fuck is going on with the two of you?
So stupid. So stupid. Move on. Yep. Okay, cold open.
The card comes up, and then we go to a real, actual flashback.
Yeah.
Beepers, you guys. Beepers still exist in this universe.
They be beeping.
Yeah.
I got so excited and then so angry at myself because I was very excited to see Julie Bowen. But then
same.
We do. Lost on Lost does have an official Julie Bowen correspondent, Elena. So we'll have to. We'll have
Julie
to apologize
Bowen
to her.
does feature in several episodes, so a little bit of a scheduling thing to not have Elena on for this, but because JP and I don't really look ahead, I didn't know she was going to be in this episode until I started watching it.
Yeah, I was
like, oh,
pleasantly
shit.
surprised.
Julie Bowen's great.
Yeah,
Like it's Virginia Venet.
It
from Happy
is.
Gilmore.
that's right.
So yeah, Jack is just creeping on Julie Bowen.
Just straight up stalking. Nothing about his body language or facial expression says, I'm waiting for her to get off school so I can surprise her.
It seems very unhealthy, very bad.
There's nothing calm about this man sitting in the car.
No.
This guy definitely has stalker energy when you first see him.
Well, when you first see him, every time we see him for the rest of the episode.
He's got anger issues for sure.
Yeah, Jesus. we cut back to the present time, and Jack's in a cage. This isn't the first time that we've seen this cage. It's sort of an aquarium looking thing. He pulls a bandage off of his arm that looks like either something was injected into him or taken out of him, and he bumps into the fucking glass. I like that.
I laughed pretty hard when that happened because I kind of knew it was going to happen, but when it happens,
I made a note that said he bumped into a pane like a dog into a patio door.
I just wrote he pounds into the glass like an idiot.
In general, so the times that we've seen the others, one of the later episodes of season 2, they are in like just a brown dirt clothes. They are in like huts. It looks like they're living like savages, just like laying down on the ground, you know, like no like real dwellings or infrastructure or anything. And then now we see them and they got buildings and like locker rooms and showers. And so, and they got these nice houses. So at least for me, I'm fucking confused.
From the tank, we cut to a locker room, a shower room.
Yeah.
Kate's waking up. She has a bandage just like Jack's. There's a dude there. MC Gainey. Love him.
Because I haven't seen the show, I was also like, oh my God, it's the Wasp.
Yeah.
It's the Wasp and Swamp Thing.
Yeah. It's Evangeline Lilly before she got her dental work done.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
From the shower scene, we cut to Sawyer outside in the cages. He wakes up. He's in some sort of outdoor animal cage. Takes in his surroundings. He sees painted on some of the exterior structure a new Dharma Station logo.
Yeah, the Hydra.
The Hydra. Yeah. There is a dude in the neighboring cage. It's just a dude. We can't tell from the back at first. He's not responding to any of Sawyer's attempts at small talk or conversation.
Which is kind of a dick move.
Yeah, I mean, you're the only two out there.
Like, you're not even going to say, hey.
Right. Unless, like, you know, he turns around and he doesn't have a face or something. Like,
that would have been great.
That would have been wild, right?
Yeah.
We've seen one Carl Martin here on the podcast before.
Yeah.
Hey, Carl. Good to see you.
Carl's the resident fucking dork. Like, he's just this dorky teenager. Like, he's got some sort of weird summer romance going on with another character that we don't know nearly enough about.
She's just running around being like, where'd you get that dress? You seen Carl? What's going on?
Sawyer starts working with the buttons, and then Carl decides, he's like, I wouldn't do that if I were you. Here's what you say instead of that if you're trying to be like a real neighbor. Hey, if you fuck with those buttons, they'll shock you. No, I wouldn't do that if I were you. Just skip the first part, get to the information. I wouldn't do that if I were you because it shocks you. Yeah. That probably would have stopped him. Maybe.
Bottom line up
Sawyer's
front.
kind of stubborn.
Yeah, but I wouldn't do that if I were you. Make you sound much cooler. So
very ominous, yeah. I wouldn't do that if I were you. But yeah, Sawyer tries to work these buttons and gets electrocuted.
I want him to turn into the skeleton like in Home Alone when he's getting electrocuted. Go back to Jack. He's tugging on a chain.
Yep. He thinks he's going to climb out or something. I don't know.
Or something.
Yep. The woman from the book club comes in.
Oh.
Juliet.
Yes.
Juliet Burke.
And she said, hey, let's read Carrie together.
It's my favorite book. Have you ever heard of Stephen King? Book. He's like sort of underground, but like... I think he's really...
I don't know if you know this, but I was the first person to like Stephen King.
It's great. If you like one of his books, he writes all of them twice.
He primarily writes in a genre that I like to call cocaine horror, but like, you know, he's branched out into other sorts of things. This book's about a prom queen, but he did a really good book about a car, so like, you know. I wanted to ask real quick, do you think that they cast Elizabeth Mitchell because she looks like Julie Bowen on purpose to create this parallel between Sarah, Jack's wife, and then now this new woman in his life, Juliet Burke? Because they're both,
oddly enough, I kind of had that thought in their scene at the end when, and we'll get to it when Julie Bowen's, giving them the big emotional speech, and then when Elizabeth Mitchell, they sort of cut back and forth. I'm like, man, these are two really like strong female actors, and they're both blonde and pretty, and
Right. They're of a similar physical
there
type,
might be
yeah.
something to that. Yeah.
I know we'll get there, but like Julie Bowen acted the shit out of that her last
She's
scene.
She's like finding a
Yeah.
mint on your pillow. Like, this is so nice.
Jack gets to this thing and she's like, let's get some divorce going on here. And he's like, I want to talk about your new boyfriend. And she's like, I really, really don't. And, this is why we are getting divorced, because you never fucking listen to me. Oh, my boyfriend's calling. Let me go talk to him real quick. And then she fucking giggles on the phone. Like, I would do that on purpose. If I were her and he was over there, I'd be like, oh my God.
Oh my God, you're so funny.
You bought what kind of silk boxers? Oh, that's adorable. I can't wait. I would just fucking twist a knife right
You're taking
there.
me to where this weekend?
There's also, I don't know if you guys picked up, but there's also very strong give me my family back energy from Matthew Fox.
Oh, yeah. Well, and he's trying to do this thing where he's like, I'm sorry, it's my fault that we're here. And it's like, dude, you're at divorce court too little too late, my guy.
I'm really sorry that we're getting divorced. It's all my fault. Yeah, I know. That's why we're here.
Perhaps my anger issues have something to do with it. We'll never know.
He's so obsessed. What's his name?
Yeah.
And this is just the beginning of the crazy train we're about to get on with Jack's obsession with Julie Bowen's new beau.
We come back to the tank.
Jack's still tugging on that chain.
Mm-hmm. Julia's trying to get him to stop. She's doing like all the stuff that a captor's supposed to do. You can trust me, whatever, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
Like if anybody ever says the phrase, you can trust me, to me, I don't trust them. And you got to think that a person who says that knows that that's going to be the reaction, especially if like you're in a glass tank. But like you got to say it, I guess. Like you got to put it out there. I don't know.
I mean, it's like when Fox News' slogan was fair and balanced. Like, if you were really fair and balanced, you wouldn't need to tell me you're fair and balanced.
Exactly. The trust would come from the actions. Like, I can trust you? Open the door.
Right. Give me some food.
Fox News, air quotes, fair and balanced. Matthew Fox, air quotes, doctor.
Sweaty and doctor.
He says something about like, tell me where my friends are, and I wanted friends to be in air quotes. Like, these people tolerate you because you're a doctor. I don't know if anyone's really your friend. Maybe Hurley because he's everybody's friend, but
I mean,
I
Sawyer's
think
friend.
the dog likes you.
There was an episode earlier where Sawyer said, you're the closest. Well, I guess that's a qualifier. You're the closest thing to a friend I've got. That doesn't mean you're friends. It's just as close as friends get. Juliet hits him with a line in this little scene. I don't think you're stupid. I think you're stubborn.
Ew.
And I just
fucking
liked
good.
that. I just liked that so much.
Obviously, we learned throughout this episode that her and Michael Emerson have a tensioned relationship, but you can see why he trusts her to go in and do this, because she's got that same, like, I am one step ahead of you and we're both aware of it sort of mentality, and I fucking love it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I didn't realize until after I watched that this was her debut on the series.
Yep.
And it's a pretty good debut, I must say.
From there, we cut back to Kate. She's finished showering. She's looking for her clothes.
Okay, quick poll. She has to wear this dress. If you were gonna give her an outfit to wear, what outfit would it be?
It's clearly her wasp suit.
Okay, very good.
I was gonna say maybe a Squid Game jumpsuit.
Okay, that's also very good. Yeah, I wanted the Wolverine costume from the animated X-Men series.
Like just a bear suit, a bear onesie.
Just a comically oversized diaper and the head from a bear suit.
The back half of a two-man horse costume. And the head of a bear.
Her clothes have been replaced with a child's dress.
Yes.
We found this out in a previous episode, not chronologically. This dress belongs to Alex. Alex is a teenager.
The dress belongs to Alex.
So Tom comes in to get Kate, and he takes her out to a beachside breakfast
God.
with Ben.
Wow.
We have to talk about this scene, you guys.
Yeah. Holy shit.
I want to talk about the handcuffs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because if she's supposed to be eating, why is she handcuffing both hands?
Right, just like handcuff yourself to the table or something, like.
Yes. Or I also thought, like, when he says, I'm going to, you need to handcuff yourself, and you don't know this fucking guy. Why aren't you, like, just slapping them both on the same arm and being like, your move, guy.
Like, checkmate.
Checkmate. Come get the key or let me out of here. Like,
she handcuffs herself to the French press.
Yes, which curiously was only pressed like half an inch. Like,
what happens if I don't put on the handcuffs? Then you don't get any coffee. That's what? Shut the fuck up, Benny.
Right? She may not even like
There's
coffee.
orange juice here too.
That too. And a weirdly full bottle of ketchup.
It's for the home fries.
She handcuffs herself to her. That's the same arm with both handcuffs. And Michael Emerson's like, "Oh, you must have taken that limitless pill. You're using 100% of your brain potential."
Let me recruit you into our organization we like to call the Others.
Seriously, it's like you're a woman, you don't know this strange man, and you're just like, yeah, sure, I'll just shackle myself.
Yeah.
I'll make it even harder on myself.
Yeah. Well, and Ben's doing, all of the sociopathic things to make himself feel very friendly and very like, I just need you to do this to trust, so I can trust you and yada yada yada, and then very quickly turns where he's like, I wanted you to have a good breakfast because the next 2 weeks you're gonna have a bad fucking time.
The end of that scene, I liked it a lot because that was Ben doing his Ben thing. Everything prior to that was monumentally idiotic. And my only note for the scene is just fuck Hawaii's pretty. Because as Tom's bringing her out to the beach, and you see this little tent, this little cabana and stuff, like, they give this sweeping shot of the ocean and like this, dude, that's a fucking location, man.
Something was going on though, because they started out in like total sunlight, and then
the lighting
they were doing a lot of filling. I don't know if like the sun was going down or they had cloud cover, but there was some shift, or maybe it was like a reshoot or something. I don't know. Something was going on though.
From the beach, we cut to a flashback. Jack is trying to call Sarah's boyfriend from a list of phone numbers that I'm assuming he got from the phone bill?
Right, which is how a complete psychopath acts.
Yeah.
I don't know why our main character that we're supposed to like does the most heinous shit.
Right.
Like, no joke, guys. This could be an episode of Dexter, with Matthew Fox, like with the kill room that he's in most of the episode, and the fact that he's a creepy stalking his ex-wife shit, or I guess soon to be ex-wife.
Yeah,
like,
oh my god,
there's a reason you're getting divorced, buddy. Maybe look inward and reflect.
You ever think there was a moment where Ed Gein had the hatchet and was like, man, this is pretty fucking crazy. Anyways,
man, what am I doing with my life?
This is wild, I gotta tell you.
Christian comes in. Jack's like, give me a minute, I'm not done stalking my soon-to-be ex-wife. And he's like, maybe don't stalk her anymore. Look at what you're doing. Like Christian comes in and tries to give him his Ed Gein moment.
Yeah.
Of looking at the hatchet. But Jack, not having it, not listening to it. He's like, fuck off, I'm doing whatever. As he's yelling at his dad, he's continuing to dial numbers. And he dials a number. And then Christian's phone rings. And that's
not good.
Not great. Yeah.
No. So instantly, Jack is dialed to 11. He's like, are you seeing my wife?
Why is Sarah calling you? Like,
because it's her father-in-law?
Yeah.
The dad's reacting as if he got an actual phone call, though.
Right. He looks at his phone.
And Matthew Fox isn't saying anything.
No.
Yeah.
So is the dad like he really thinks that, his wife is sleeping with his dad? Like, his dad was clearly reacting to something. You're not the guy.
Right.
He got a different call, right?
It's a very weird misdirect. Like, they're trying to do too many things to almost make you think, could this be possible? But it's just not landing.
Yeah.
Jack flips out when the phone rings. Yeah. And we saw at the beginning of the episode that Jack has seen the boyfriend. We, the audience, saw Jack see the guy. And the guy's not Christian. Like, yeah, so this weird thing that's happening here in this scene is, what is it? Like, what's...
Well, because I went back and I watched that first scene where I'm like, is there something that cues us to maybe that's not the guy?
That's not the guy, right?
Wasn't.
But there's not. There's no second. Yeah, we're never given the thought, at least I wasn't, that there was a second guy. Like, there's a guy. And it's that guy from the beginning of the show. And it's not Christian.
Listen, Christian's got one love in his life, and it's Scotch.
I was going to say, it's John Walker.
It's Glenfiddich.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess it kind of heightens the idea that he's just so blinded by his anger that he can't think straight.
Control.
But
if nothing else, it does make Jack just look like that much more of a maniac.
Yes.
Yeah, he's clearly at least, based on this one episode, he's clearly a hothead of some magnitude.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, you got that vibe, Nick? Did you kind of get that vibe?
Just, just a little. I kind of maybe wouldn't want him to be my spinal surgeon.
Hey, Nick, let me blow your fucking mind. Jack's the protagonist of this whole series.
What? What?
I'm sorry, that can't be right.
We cut to our protagonist still in the tank. There's some static coming through the comm, this radio wall where the button is labeled "communicate" or whatever, and he hears the Christian's line from the flashback repeated through the static. Yeah. Just let it go. Let it go.
Just let it go.
We also know that Jack has a problem with letting stuff go. Juliet brings in some chow and starts interrogating him. She's framing it as though just like making chit chat or whatever, but she's interrogating him, trying to get information out of him. She's got a grilled cheese with some toothpicks in it. This was actually, I liked part of this a lot because this was Jax has a retort to what do you do for a living? Like, instead of just saying something repo sassy man. Or like telling her fuck off, he's like, I'm a repo man, when people can't pay the bills, I repossess cars. Like, it's not like the world's best backstory, and it's obviously a lie, but like, what if in the Lost World, instead of Jack being a spinal surgeon, he was a repo man? Imagine what that show would be like.
It would be more believable, for sure.
Because this guy's, of how unhinged and how tenuous of a grasp he has on his own emotional adulthood. If this guy was a repo man, all of a sudden I buy a lot about him way more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then the twist is that Sawyer is the exact same character, but he's also a spinal surgeon.
From there, we cut to back outside to Sawyer. Carl's talking. He asks about the survivors. He asks about the camp.
Yeah.
He's got all these kind of questions, and Sawyer's very focused on figuring out the button puzzle.
I mean, he's clearly hungry
to the point that he does not he does not realize that Carl's just straight up busting out.
So this is the second time we have seen someone just effortlessly escape from these fucking cages. I don't know how effective they are.
Well, these are the Roger Rabbit cages.
Yeah.
You mean you tell me you could have gotten out of it any time? No. Only when it was funny.
I did bump on that too, because I'm like, my mind went to like, is this guy being let out intentionally to try and bait?
Right. Carl feels like a plant.
Yep.
He feels like a plant.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, we see that they've done that before. You know what I mean? They did that with Ethan. They did that with Goodwin. What if Carl's just in that cage to try and be another psychological experiment with Sawyer?
Yep. It's all about playing the games for them. They're trying to prod for weakness in Kate and Sawyer and Jack in any way. And why wouldn't Carl be part of that? Yeah, exactly. Right. You're right.
Yeah. So they escape, and Juliet tases fucking Sawyer in the neck.
She just out of nowhere too. Like he's just like piling through the jungle, and just like Juliet appears. Good night.
It's very much surprise.
Oh no.
Really quick, when they're dragging Sawyer back to the cage, they use a camera rig called a Snorri cam.
Yep.
It was a good use of it.
Nice. Yeah, I like that. I thought it was cool. A little bit of a Jack Bender asking for an extra piece of equipment. Hey, can we get a snorri cam on for this shot?
So MC Gainey just like slams Carl's head against the fucking just hits his head right against the bars and is like, say it. And all I could think of was that John Mulaney bit dealing with the airline. Say it. No, say it. I'm a little fat girl. Yeah, it's like, I'm sorry for involving you in my escape plan or whatever.
Yep.
It very much reminded me of Do the Truffle Shuffle.
They don't put Carl back in the cage. Carl's had his cage privileges suspended.
Yeah,
right.
They drag him
that
off to
also
somewhere.
made me suspicious.
Yeah,
that made me suspicious. Like,
right.
okay, he's clearly in on it or something.
Yeah. We come back to Jack.
Jack. Oh my God. These are all the same scene.
Yeah. All these tank scenes, it's just the same thing over and over again.
It really is.
She tries to drive home. She's like, hey, if you don't eat or drink, you're going to hallucinate and die.
It felt very much like how cults get you to join them, where it's like they starve you and overwork you, and then just like, oh no, it's all part of the leader's plan.
So I was a little confused with this scene. So eventually she gets Jack to be like, listen, I want to give you this food, like no strings attached. I just need you to go sit down so that I know you're not going to do anything stupid, and you'll get the food, and then that's it. So he goes and he sits down, and she's like, thank you, and walks out. I thought that the door was in that room.
No.
That, like one of the glass panels or something. I thought she was just like, I just wanted you to go sit down like a good boy, and now I'm taking the food away. And I was like, that's the most cold-hearted shit I've ever seen, and I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Same.
But no, the door was just like up the
she just
hallway.
had to go out into the hallway to access
it's just
the
around.
other door. Yeah. But that would have been some cold shit. That would have been real good.
I didn't figure that out until the end. Like, I'm like, because she's done that a few times, right?
Where she exits.
She exits, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, lady? You said you give him the food. And then I realized, oh, there must be a secondary door.
The two doors are connected by an external hallway, and they're not connected to the glass. Yeah. So, but that would have been some good shit. Yeah, go sit down, I'll bring you this food. And then she just disappears.
She just walks away for 5 hours.
Yeah, and then you hear some static through the hour. Also, fuck you.
It's like, Jack, this is your dad.
You sit there, never let go.
Yeah.
Small seasoned curlies.
I'm going to need to take the last two things off of that order. We come back to flashback. Jack. This is the part where Jack's doing not spinal surgeon work. He's just doing general resident work. I spotted this on Lostpedia. This nurse that he's talking to is the same nurse from the episode where John Locke gets his back shaved. And then she comes in and checks on him. So, neat.
I'm sorry. Gets his back shaved?
And then his dad steals his kidney after they shave his back.
But he sees his dad out in the hallway.
Yeah, he sees dad,
and he gets a phone call, and he's all smiley.
Yep. So he decides to fucking tail him in the middle of his workday. This guy here in the doctor area who needs my attention, he'll probably be fine. The nurse is in like, are you sure that's okay? And he's like, yeah, it's fine, whatever. My dad's doing some sketchy shit. I'm going to tail him.
Yeah.
And he also arrives. It's that television thing where he arrives exactly after his dad.
Just moments, just like right
before. Oh, it's perfect. We won't have to move the camera. He'll arrive exactly after.
Listen, Nick, as a camera guy, I will do fucking everything in my power to not have to move the camera. So, like, I will give them that. I'll give them this one.
Oh, I totally get it. It's just one of those. It's that television thing you notice all the time, where it's like, oh wow, they might have left at different times, but they arrived at the same time. Weird.
Yeah.
And Christian didn't spot his son's car in his rearview mirror. Because it's not even like he's following him in a cab or something. He's following in his car.
In his scrubs, too. It's not like he's like incognito.
Yeah, fucking sunglasses and a mustache.
He's dressed as Mr. Peanut, not as Dr. Jack.
Dr. Peanut. It's an AA meeting. We get upstairs, and he's not running off to get some afternoon delight with a lady. He's going to an AA meeting, and this is something else that you're not aware of, Nick. Christian Shepard's a raging alcoholic.
Big time.
He drinks like it's his job, and surgery is a hobby of his that he got into while he was hammered. That's how hard Christian drinks. Okay. So he's at an AA meeting.
Yeah.
Good for him.
And he's 50 days sober,
50
which
days.
is great.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Jack
loses
Spoiler
his
alert,
fucking mind.
It doesn't last.
Yeah.
Fucking Jack. Okay, like I've been in AA. I myself am an alcoholic. I've gone to AA meetings. Jack's behavior here is, granted, all the way throughout this episode, his behavior's been really, really out of line.
Right.
Yes.
What he does in this scene is so bonkers beyond out of line.
I mean, I kind of bumped on the whoever was leading the group, where she comes off as very familiar to Jack.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we've heard all about you.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I can see where I might be like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
You know, you've never met me. You haven't heard all about me.
Right.
You don't know me.
Right. The immediate,
I can see that.
Yeah. The immediate context there is like, oh, you guys talk about me a bunch.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, cool.
But then
cool.
to go from that to I'm gonna fucking Madden hit stick my dad in an AA meeting. Like, that is a wild leap.
Yeah, he just blasts him.
Yeah, so again, he's accusing his dad of sleeping with his wife, and Christian's like, "You're out of your mind."
Yeah, because he flat out says it here. I'm not gonna let you sleep with my wife, or whatever he says. He finally just flat out actually says the words.
Yeah,
Christian, sleep with my wife, Sarah.
He's got anger and control issues, kids. Don't be like Jack.
We come back to Dr. Dingling. He tackles Juliet, too, and tries to cut her throat with a fucking broken plate.
yeah.
How dare you, sir? How? Like, I get that you're a captive, and like, but you keep your goddamn hands off Elizabeth Mitchell.
She's wonderful.
I mean, let's be real, though. The whole episode has been leading up to him having that type of anger to like be like, yeah, I could murder you.
Yeah. And I mean, and this is also not the first time in the show that he's threatened to kill somebody. Like, he threatens to kill people more often than he threatens to save somebody's life, which, again, Jack's kind of doctor shit, hit or miss. I don't know.
Yeah. So Juliet comes in and Jack rushes the door.
Yep.
Gets the upper hand on her, knocks the neck taser out of her hand.
Yeah.
And has kind of got her by it's like headlocky sort of like hostagey. Like it's a bad position to be in if you're on the receiving end of that sort of grasp. Yeah. And he's taking her out into the hallway and he's trying to figure out where the fuck to go.
Yep.
And Ben shows up. He gets to like a door with a hatch on it. And he's like, open it. She's like, I can't.
Yeah.
And then Ben is behind them, and he's like, "No, really, she can't open that door because we'll all die."
He's like, "Fuck that! I'm opening the door."
Yeah, Ben's like, "Fine, like kill her, but like if you open that door, we're all dead." And Jack goes to open the door, and Ben just books it. He's like, "I'm not fucking waiting for Juliet."
He's like, "When I said we're all gonna die, I meant the two of you. Like, I'm not gonna die." I don't know if you know this, but I'm Ben. Like.
The classic villain thing of like, oh, fuck you, you're both gonna die. You're expendable.
Oh, God, yeah. And there's a whole thing between him and Juliet about, him leaving her behind to die and drown in this thing. Like that, that's just, well, that's what you get for kicking him out of the book club.
That's true. He refused to read Carrie.
They get into safety as this thing starts to flood. This door would have been impossible to close with that amount of water.
Absolutely impossible.
But they get it closed anyway because it's TV.
I made the same fucking note, you guys. Like, there's no way. No way.
Yeah, but they get the door shut, and then Julia just fucking drills him.
They would have had to have let the entire room fill with water first.
Right.
Like
that's how
kids,
pressure equalizes.
If your car goes in the water,
right.
If you drive your car into a lake, it's got to fill fully, and then you can open the door.
Precisely.
And then it'll open right up.
Thank you. Thank you.
That was so satisfying when Juliet punched him.
Oh my god.
Yes, it really was.
And he gets knocked out and he's unconscious under the water, and she does take a second. She takes like just a moment for her to be like,
Yep.
all right, and then pulls him up. You know, she's like, it's been a long day. It's a white wine kind of night.
I'll let him drown for a bit, and then
I'm just gonna let him drown a
then
little.
I'll pick him up.
Just a
Just a
second.
tiny bit.
Yeah.
We cut back to the cages. Sawyer solves the puzzle.
And he yells, "Gotcha, Doc Brown."
Yep.
What does that mean?
I think
Okay.
this is a leap
Uh-huh.
because the button electrocutes you. And in Back to the Future, the first movie from 1985, they go back to 1955 to get back to 1985. In order to travel forward to 1985 from 1955, you need lightning to electrocute the flux capacitor. And I think that's the connection.
Adam,
Yeah.
unfortunately, I think you're correct. And that's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life.
The Thunderer by John Philip Sousa plays as a little treat.
Yeah.
The only reason I know that is because I watched the show with the subtitles on.
Oh, very nice.
So he did it, and he does a little dance. I mean, this is kind of a funny moment. It's like, all right, Sawyer, you fuckhead.
I gotta say, Sawyer doesn't really suck in this episode.
We'll talk about it in a moment.
Oh, okay.
I mean, he gives his fish biscuit to the wasp. So
Yeah.
Tom drags Kate out and puts her in Carl's cage. They chat a little bit. Tom drills Sawyer. He's like, "Oh, hey, you figured out the thing. It only took the bears 2 hours. We figure out that's a cage for bears. So
total dick move though.
polar bears? Question mark.
Here's my thing though, like the bears have a longer like wingspan than a human being would.
And Sawyer hits him with the throwaway as Tom's walking away. Yeah, how many of them were there?
Yeah, exactly.
I kind of laughed at that. That was pretty good.
That was funny. I was like, oh, Sawyer's got jokes. And they're not horribly misogynistic. All right, cool.
No.
So, yeah, Kate's in rough shape. He asked her, are you okay?
We don't know
fine.
what has happened, but she's had a rough go.
Yeah, her clearly had the cuffs on pretty tight because her wrists are all shot, all tore up. He pitches over the fish biscuit. She munches on it.
Again, he has kind of a cute little thing about like, I requested that cage, but whatever. I was like, oh, it's actually kind of a funny little.
Yeah, and he calls her Freckles, and in this moment, it actually sounds like a term of endearment. Unlike the other times when he calls her Freckles, and it feels weird and sticky and awful.
And it's he comments on the fact, he's like, nice dress, like clearly recognizing the fact that like she was put in these clothes, but he does a good job of being like, that's all I'm gonna say about it. Like, whereas an episode or two from now, he's just staring her up and down in the same fucking dress.
He does I fuck Juliet a little bit when he first sees her.
Yeah.
It was very brief, but like he sees this woman in the jungle, and the first thing he thinks to do is run his eyes up and down her, and that allows her to tase him, which he deserves. From this little scene between Sawyer and Kate, we cut back to Jack. He has figured it out. This is an aquarium. It's a tank for sharks and dolphins.
I feel like you would need different facilities for a shark and a dolphin.
He questions Juliet a little bit about the Dharma Initiative. She has some vague answers for him. She doesn't really answer his questions too much, but then she reveals that she has this big folder of all the information that they have about him.
Oh boy.
And it's everything. It's absolutely everything about Jack, apparently.
Yeah. Before the internet, she's got an entire, I'm sure they call it a dossier to make it sound fancy, but like she's got a giant fucking manila folder on this guy's entire life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, what information can you get on this idiot? Okay, you can find out where he went to school, where he probably lives, where he probably works. There's like 3 inches of paper in there.
But like, how do you know if Julie Bowen's happy? Tell me how you know that.
Yeah.
Because they have a screenshot of her MySpace page.
No, because they have the filing that their divorce is final, and so she has to be happy because she's no longer married to Jack.
Because her Facebook status says happy. in a relationship.
In the divorce filings, it's like, okay, what assets would you want? And she says, nothing. I'm happy.
Right.
Happiness.
Yeah, please complete this 1-minute survey on a scale of 1 to 10. How happy are you to be divorced from your spouse? Would you recommend divorcing your spouse to a friend or family member?
How happy were you with divorce court today?
God. She asks him, what do you want to know? Because he's like, well, do you have information about my wife? And she's like, what do you want to know? We cut to flashback where Sarah bails Jack out of jail after the fight with Christian. She's like, yeah, I bailed you out. How'd you know I was here? Your dad called me. Goodbye. And she walks away.
Yeah.
It's like, dude,
here's your bail money. Bye, bitch.
Yeah, you gotta. Like, granted, this is like very useless advice from Christian, where he's like, you gotta let this go. He does. He's got it. But anyway, he goes out to the parking lot.
Oh my God, this scene is so good.
After Sarah, and the dude's there. You see the dude that he knows is the dude. Again, not Christian, he knows.
Yeah, Jack is just like totally off the fucking... Is that him? And Julie Bowen hits him with one of the coldest fucking lines.
I need to know who he is.
It doesn't matter who he is, it just matters who you're not.
Oh, it's so good. She's like, your dad called just drunk out of his mind.
Yeah.
And she's like, now look, you fucked up your relationship with your dad, but hey, now you got something to fix.
Yeah.
And
that's
just
more, yep.
Fucking mic drops.
So cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, that whole scene is just so like, dude, you're an adult, but you're acting like a child. You need to get your shit together. Yeah. Julie Bowen, she's fantastic.
She's a treasure.
So from there, we cut back to the tank, and the information Jack wants to know is she happy? And Juliet's like, yeah, she's happy. Yeah. Jack's like, oh, thank God. I'm so happy that she's happy. He has the same reaction that I had when I broke up with my middle school girlfriend. As long as she's happy.
Here's the thing. Remember when I was so mad that Jack saw his dead dad in episode 3, and then that informed nothing of his character? This is the inverse. Imagine you're one of the other survivors, right? Mm. You guys are however many days into this. You've been hunted. You've been murdered. You guys have been tortured. Psychological games. Jack has been in this situation. People have been captured. Your other friends are in danger. You're trying to escape this island. And one of your captors says, what do you want to know? And after everything that's happened, all the other people you've met, all the things you've been through, how's my ex-wife? Is she happy? That's what you asked for?
In the context of the scene, though, they are talking about her, so it's a natural progression.
But man, what a dumb fucking question. How are my friends? Where am I? What's going on?
How are my friends?
Yeah. Take the flashbacks out of this and just have the scenes play out, and it makes no sense that he would ask that question.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'd be like, why did we get attacked with water?
Yeah.
Why are we in an underwater facility? I've got a lot of questions that do not relate to my ex-wife at all.
Right? Why does this seem to be a stationary building and not a submarine?
First of all, how dare you?
Are there dolphins and sharks?
Yeah, can I talk to a dolphin?
Juliet sees Ben in the he's like, good work, Juliet. I'm glad you're not dead. I'm glad you didn't drown. Yeah. She's like, fuck you, Ben. I mean, you're welcome, Ben. Fuck off.
Yeah, Lost. It's basically like, I left you to die, but good work anyway. Yeah.
If this was on HBO and I was the writer of the show, it's just be like, oh, you're alive. Fuck you back. Lost.
Right? See, I think it would have been perfect if she had punched him like she punched Jack earlier. And then just lost.
Very good.
That's it. A Tale of Two Cities.
That's it.
You guys, this episode, I mean,
it's bonkers.
Well, let's ask the question then. Did we like it? Was it good? This is a question we ask ourselves at the end of each episode of Lost Unlost. Did we like A Tale of Two Cities / was it good? Because those are two different things. You can like something that's horrible. You can dislike something that's awesome. Nick?
Oh boy. Did I like it? I liked it because I enjoy pretty much everything Julie Bowen's in. I used to watch. I actually used to watch Ed. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Nice.
Yeah,
Wow.
with Tom Cavanaugh. So I liked it. Ish.
Yeah.
Is that allowed?
That is a rating we have used in the past.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So it was all right. It was not the worst, 40 minutes of episodic television I've ever seen. Was it good? I would say it was not. I liked it, but it wasn't really good.
JP, how'd you feel about it?
It was good, question mark.
Okay.
There was a lot of good lost stuff in here. I hated all the Jack flashbacks, but there was enough on island stuff where I was like, I'm entertained. We're doing more of that, like, ooh, there's more questions than there are answers, but that's kind of what we're here for Lost. So like, I was entertained, especially considering like how repetitive the scenes were. It's like, oh, Jack in a cage, Sawyer in a cage, Kate in a cage. But there was enough interesting dialogue and enough interesting things happening where I was like, I'd keep watching.
Sure. Yeah.
Adam?
I think that A Tale of Two Cities is a very entertaining, very good season premiere. It sets the table for a lot of questions for the upcoming season of television. We get a lot of interesting threads, hooks thrown out, stuff for you to grab onto later.
You know what? I will give you that. It does kind of have a lot of like, maybe not Easter eggs, but very like seeds of where you see like things could happen. So as a season premiere, I can see where you'd think it's good. So, as someone this is the only episode I've ever watched, I'm like,
well, I mean, and it's like I think that this does a good job of making me want to see more season 3 stuff because it opens up. It opens up some doors for me to walk through as an audience member. Is it the best episode of Lost I've ever seen? No, not by a long shot. No.
I mean, I guess technically by default it's the best episode of Lost.
Yeah, there you go. Before we jump into the MVPs, I did have a note that I'd written for the Did We Like It Was a Good Thing. I just wanted to mention. JP, you and I have watched The Envelope. You mentioned it at the beginning of the show. The Envelope, missing piece. According to Lostpedia, we made this joke when we were talking about The Envelope that it felt like a deleted scene from another episode. It actually was a deleted scene from this episode.
What?
The envelope, the missing piece, the lost missing piece of the envelope, that was a deleted scene from this episode that they then later released as a mobisode.
It was like the same scene.
You cut the beach scene with Kate and Ben, you put that back in, this episode is 25% better, in my opinion.
But I don't...
Because there is some stuff that happens in the envelope between Amelia and Juliet about the x-ray and the bullshit. Like that's a much more interesting scene than what the beach breakfast thing was, because the beach breakfast thing was a 5-minute scene that ended with a 30-second threat, and all we needed was the threat.
That's dumb.
So I wanted to make mention of that.
Interesting.
But yeah. So anyway,
all right, cool.
MVPs.
MVPs, yeah. Who is your favorite character from the show, minus anything else you know, minus any other context that you have? Who is your MVP of the Tale of Two Cities, Nick?
I mean, this should come as no surprise at this point, but it's got to be Julie Bowen. I mean,
solid pick.
Like, legitimately, like that last scene where she's basically telling Jack that he's a piece of shit and needs to grow up.
Yeah.
I mean, it did not get better for me in this episode. Everything about it felt natural. It felt like she actually was the character. It wasn't like Jack where he was playing a character.
Yeah, totally fair. Yeah. Julie Bowen, she's an absolute delight.
JP, what about you?
The Bears. They figured that shit out in 2 hours, man. That's pretty good for bears. Like,
yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm assuming that it's the polar bears that we've run into.
Right.
I don't know how smart polar bears are on the spectrum of other bears, but you're not wrong. 2 hours and fuck.
That's pretty good. Adam.
Christian Shepard. 50 days is no joke. They're proud of him for being sober that long. So was I.
Yeah.
Good work, man. It's tough, and falling off the wagon is nothing to be ashamed of. It happens.
Lost forever. who was your least favorite of this episode? Who sucks shit? Who's got to be voted off the island? Nick, who is your lost forever?
I mean, he's central to the show, but I mean, Matthew Fox, I can't handle the energy, the like, just angry. He's kind of one note, at least in this episode. He's heavy breathing all the time for some reason. Yeah. Like he's just run a marathon.
That's one of his things that he does. It's one of his acting.
Great.
It's one of his acting. Matthew Fox's, specifically his acting. There are other scenes where they get to a place and he's panting as though they ran there, but they didn't.
I mean, I guess in this episode he's sweating a lot, so maybe he's running inside Dexter's kill room.
Maybe
but like,
he's doing laps.
I mean, it's hard because obviously there are so many characters I have not seen. This is a very, Jack-centric episode, but
it can be Jack. It can absolutely be Jack. It can be, and it has been, and it will be.
I was gonna say, Nick, with episodes with all the other characters in the mix, with so many more opportunities, more often than not, we still choose Jack as our lost forever a lot.
JP, who's your lost forever?
Carrie Ann Moss for taking so many roles that Elizabeth Mitchell should have had. I'm just picturing like The Matrix with Elizabeth Mitchell instead of Carrie Ann Moss, and I'm like, ooh, I think I like this better.
Ooh, interesting.
Listen, Carrie Ann Moss is fine, but I think Elizabeth Mitchell is a much stronger actor. Adam?
Jack. Specifically for the fact that, like, and I said it earlier in the episode, he knows who Sarah's boyfriend is. Why did he think then also it was Christian? Like that. How likely is it? How likely is it that your dad is banging your wife? Think you're a doctor. Like you're supposed to be an educated individual. How likely is it that your married father is banging your wife? To be fair, if that were happening, if that was what was happening, he's well within his rights to be pissed. But it's not happening.
No.
Honorable mention, the LAPD.
Nick, thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Of course.
Thank you for dealing with our silliness and our silly podcast.
This was a lot of fun, you guys. Really, this is so great.
Do you have anything you want to plug?
Oh God, I mean, I guess you could follow me on Twitter at Nick Schreiter, but it's mostly just me sniping at politicians.
It's honestly, it's pretty
super
good.
Exciting.
JP, what are we doing next time?
I don't fucking know. Let's see here. If you want to be lost with us, next time we're going to be watching season 3, episode 5, The Cost of Living, starring a one Mr. Echo.
Yes.
Oh boy, I mean,
at least it's the same season, you guys.
Yeah. I am hard as a towel rack right now. Jesus Christ, Mr. Echo.
It's so good. Love it.
So excited.
Love to see it.
Oh, man. All right. Well, hey, thank you for listening to this episode of Lost on Lost.
I'm Adam.
I'm JP.
Do you have any idea what's going on the show?
Nope.
Me neither. Lost on Lost is produced and edited by me and JP.
We wish to acknowledge that we live, work, and produce our show on occupied land.
Burbank, California is located on the traditional tribal lands of the Tongva, Chumash, Kizh, and Fernandino Tataviam peoples.
Milwaukee, Wisconsin is located on the traditional tribal lands of the Peoria, Potawatomi, Miama, and Ho-Chunk peoples.
And Lost was produced in Hawaii on the lands of the Kanaka Maoli.
Visit native-land.ca to learn more about the land you live and work on.
You can engage with us on IG, Facebook, and Twitter at Lost on Lost 1.
You can also email us at wearelostonlost@gmail.com or support us with dollar monies at coffee.com/wearelostonlost.
Thanks to Lostpedia and its community of contributors, Danny Schmitz, random.org, and as always, you the listeners for tuning in.
We're hosted at Podbean. You can hear us there or wherever you get your podcasts, except MySpace. We're not on MySpace.
Yet.